Good morning, everyone. How are you all doing? Thank you for joining us on a Saturday morning. Bit of a different one, this one, but that's just how our schedules worked this time round. So I'm joined by my dad, Gordon. Morning.
Good morning.
And I'm joined by my brother, Andy.
Good morning.
And this programme, I did bill it as Newcastle and coffee because I thought Saturday morning coffee. Who's got coffee?
Always.
You two do. I don't drink coffee, but I have got a caffeinated product. I don't do coffee. I like the smell of coffee, but I don't drink it. So,
well, unacceptable.
Anyway, but I think lots of other people will be having coffee this morning. I know you are, Andrew.
If you titled the show Newcastle and Coke, that would be a very different, show.
Different vibe.
Saturday night kind of vibe, maybe. I always drink coffee. You know this.
I do.
Yeah.
Especially after last night.
Yeah.
We've got a few people here already, which is lovely. So, good morning. You got your coffee and Football Manager 22 open. Shared did excellent last night. Oh, in real life, I thought you meant in Football Manager. Yeah, he did actually do really well, didn't he, for Switzerland last night, which was... How is he not in the team?
Turns out he's quite a good footballer, isn't it?
He's decent. Why is he not getting a game for Newcastle? Don't understand this. I didn't know this is an interesting one. If on this day in 2002 we beat Feyenoord, last minute goal, Bellamy.
Yeah.
All right.
What a game! I didn't realise it was on this day, but that was an exciting time, wasn't it?
That was an amazing match.
That was a bit. I think I watched that with you, actually, Dad.
You did.
We were watching that together, weren't we? And
because at one point we contrived to throw it away, didn't we? And then
we did. We were in control of that game, and then they got it back to 2-2, and it felt like the momentum was completely with them. And the crowd in Feyenoord was unreal, wasn't it? Like the atmosphere. It was a hard place to go and play. And then, of course, Bellamy somehow squeezed it in from the narrowest of angles. Fantastic.
It was an incredible finish, wasn't it? I mean, I've spoken to people who were there actually in the stadium, and they just said it was probably one of the best things I've ever been to.
Yeah. Well, your brother went, didn't he? My uncle
did. Yeah,
he was there that night. So I'd have loved it. I think if there was one game that I didn't go to that I wish I could have gone to, that would be it. That would be the game I'd choose. Morning, Jackie. Jackie, if this wasn't already a family affair, Jackie's my mother. So good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
And then Blakey's here. Good morning, Blakey. Morning, JB. Morning, Paddy. Morning, Joel. A few names that are new, which is nice, and a few familiar faces too. Shah was good last night. Watched the game all the way. I didn't watch any of. I must admit, I didn't watch anything. I watched about 2 minutes of England. And that was enough, really. So Blakey's got a cup of tea.
That's acceptable.
That's fine. That's fine. Saturday morning. I don't drink that either, but it's an acceptable Saturday morning drink. Morning, Keith. Morning, Mark and Liam. Non-league football for Liam today. Excellent, Liam. So I know, Liam, you live. I know you're in. I think you're a Leyton Orient fan, if I remember correctly. Who are you going to go and watch today? Let me know. Let us know who you're going to go and watch. I'm
off to watch Ashington this afternoon.
Oh, fab.
Playing concert.
I didn't know that, actually. You did tell me that. That's why we're doing this morning. And not later.
I have to inexplicably go to a Christmas market. So that's unacceptable.
That's early for that seems early. Fantastic. Newcastle coffee mug from about 20 years ago. Love it.
The only mug I use.
The only mug he uses.
There's questions there.
I'm sure he washes it. We will get on to the Newcastle stuff in a minute. So let us know your thoughts. I mean, really, obviously, it's been dominated by Eddie Howe coming in this week and sort of, the way he's entered the club this week. How do you feel about that? Let us know in the comments. We'll obviously chat about that in a little while. Still got some other people. Keith's here. Happy international football break. Yeah, I hate the international break personally.
I'm really annoyed there's no football this weekend.
Yeah. The only thing this time round is I can see possibly the benefit for Newcastle being that Howe actually gets that extra week. And I know there's a few players not there because they're on international duty, but I think the extra week's going to do us a favour.
Definitely.
It's why there's so many clubs sack their managers.
Yeah, This is it. I mean, there's lots of managerial changes, and we can touch on that later as well. Obviously, Norwich, Villa as well, and obviously us. Joel still has his Newcastle beat Man United 5-0 mug. Brilliant.
It doesn't matter how many times we get mullered by them.
Yeah.
That one game.
No one mentions the fact we've been no one mentions the fact we've lost to them in a big way several times since that match. But Newcastle really did go all out with the merch after that match, though, didn't they?
Yeah.
They released it on video. They released it. There was T-shirts. There was obviously mugs. There was all sorts. Cashing in on it. Cup of tea for Keith. Just got back from a park run. Fantastic.
Oh.
Yeah, this is it. It's just a bit chilled this morning. I was out this morning. I was out on my bike, and that was nice. It woke me up. But yeah,
I literally rolled out of bed 10 minutes before we did this.
I was worried that you weren't going to show up. Actually,
That's 73.
So I did well. Actually, I did 74 and 75 today.
74,
You've done 2 runs this morning. Wow.
Yeah. So basically, just so people know, no one knows on this channel. I've never mentioned this. Basically, at the start of this year, I moved house, and I set myself a challenge to ride to this place that's quite close by to where I live, but it's a bit of a challenge. It's quite hilly. So I said I'd ride up there 100 times this year, and I'm currently on 75. I was hoping to have got it done by now, but running out of year. I'm running out of days. Yeah, so which is why I'm doing 2 runs in a morning. So I was up early, managed to fit 2 round trips up there this morning, and then still got back. It's maybe why I'm a bit shiny, because I just had a shower. Keith prefers tea. Liam's going to watch Dulwich Hamlet against Bath. Dulwich. Sorry. I'm not. I'm not Southern. Andrew lives in the south. He knows all these places' names. Morning, Peter. Can't stay for long. Fair enough. Yeah, we get that.
It's a bugging me.
My wife's just taken my kids out as well for that reason. They needed to go out. Do you think Cole would have broken Milburn's record if he hadn't have been sold?
Well,
depends how long he stayed.
Yeah,
I mean quite a few years. Then
I think if Andy Cole had stayed for his entire career, there's probably
if he had his career at Newcastle, then he almost certainly would have done, wouldn't he?
Well, I think if he'd just been there 4 or 5 years, he still wouldn't have beaten it.
No, I mean he still scored. What was it? 80 odd goals for us in what was it? 2.5 years.
2.5 years. Yeah.
He was amazing.
He was incredible.
What was it? What was that 93-94 season? Was it 42 goals?
Yes, 41.
41. Yeah,
I had it as a computer password at one point. Cole 41.
It's a really good password. That really secure. Yeah, that's fair enough. Morning, Jimmy. Was that when we lost the opening 3 games in the group? Yeah, going back to the Feyenoord match, which was apparently, I can't remember how many years ago it was now. How many years ago was it? Nearly 19 years ago?
19 years.
19 years ago. Yes, it was, Blakey. It was when we lost the opening 3. We were the first team ever to lose their first 3 matches of a Champions League group and still qualify for the next round.
Yeah.
And we did that by wrapping it up against Feyenoord. Literally at the end.
Actually, there was a thing the other day because it was obviously with Gary Speed being inducted into the Hall of Fame. And I think, didn't he score the vital goal in the first of those 3 games that we won against Keegan with a header in the Gallagher end? When we beat them 2-1, that was the first of those 3 games. Sure it was. Just came back to mind.
I'll be honest, I can't remember that. There's a lot of things I do remember, but I can't remember that at all.
He scored a lot of vital goals for us, Gary Speed. I mean, important.
He did. He scored quite a few goals for us overall. I love Gary Speed. He was such a good player. I mean, obviously, tragic what happened to him, and a big loss for obviously his family and football in general. But I just think the job he did for us when I looked, actually, I was putting together my newsletter this week, and there's a question about Gary Speed's goal scoring record. Actually, in that link is in the description below if you're interested. What I didn't realize, I always got the impression Speed was with us for like 8, 9, 10 years, but he wasn't. He was like here for about 5 years, but the impact he had, he basically played every game.
Well, I remember when we signed him, thinking, "Oh, it's like an old Leeds reject." Do you know? So, I remember the feeling when we signed John Barnes and Ian Rush, thinking, "What the heck?" And I think I had a similar feeling when we signed Speed, because obviously when we lived in Scarborough, and like everyone was a Leeds fan.
Yeah.
Like, oh, what are the blooming Leeds reject for? Gary Speed. But then he was just superb, wasn't he? You know.
Yeah, he was great.
You just sort of, you never know really what a player's going to do. Obviously, when they sign, thinking back to Cole, like we just thought Cole would stay forever. You know, when he signed, and we signed him halfway through the very end of the promotion season. He just started banging in goals and didn't stop until the day he left. And that was, I think you sort of felt that would never end, really. Of course, he would have had some dry seasons, no doubt. But it's that you just don't, when you sign a player, you never know where it's going to be and what they're going to do.
I was doubtful about when he signed as well. And I think we also we signed Solano around the same time, didn't we? And we had these two. And we were all very doubtful about both of them, weren't we? And they turned out.
Yeah, and actually that came up really recently about Solano. Sorry, someone on Twitter was saying, like, there was this thing that went round, and it was like, who's the one player that you got wrong? You basically got wrong. And I always held my hands up, and Solano was it for me, because I wrote him off within a few, and I never do this anymore to any player. Because I got completely burnt with Solano, and I love the guy. But when he first came in, but to be fair to him, when he first came in, he wasn't amazing. He really did develop into a world class player. He was just,
Bobby coached him.
Yeah, he was well coached, but the speed of the Premier League at first, he wasn't great when he first came in. But then obviously he had the ability to adapt, and he was absolutely. He was just brilliant.
It makes you wonder what someone could do with Almiron. Obviously, the South American, they're both quite sort of slight South American types. Obviously, different countries and that, but yeah, a very different game. I mean, and like you say, the pace of it. And Almiron has always looked a little bit weak as well, hasn't he? And I wonder coaching if we might.
I just think that goes for quite a lot of players in our squad as well. I think. Let's be honest here. Yeah, we know that some of the players aren't the best players in the world, but there is more in them than we have seen, because the coaching hasn't been good.
Yeah,
it's been part-time almost, and so obviously we've got this exciting start with Eddie Howe, and he's obviously come in this week and sort of he's impressed me, and I know he's impressed a lot of people. But who knows what he can do with some good coaching.
Yeah. Just to finish on the Nobby thing,
I
think it was one of Shearer's recent interviews. He talked about, was it with Neville? The one he did with Neville? But he talked about players he would sort of share a room with or like to have in the dressing room. He talked about Asprilla, but in that same sentence he mentioned Solano, because he said they were both mad.
Yeah, absolutely mad as a hatter.
Trumpet playing and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, that's it. Marty's just said that. Great trumpet player too. It's just, I love that he used to take his trumpet on the away trips. Imagine being in
wasn't there some story, right? I can't remember which player was sharing a room with them on an away trip. And he was walking at like 2:00 in the morning with nobody practicing his trumpet.
Well, that's Gazaresque, isn't it? That kind of behavior.
The absolute crit. Yeah, it's brilliant. So funny.
Yeah, totally agree with that comment. Gary Speed, brilliant player and legend, absolutely. And sadly missed.
But sorely missed, but absolutely worthy of being the first man into the Newcastle United Hall of Fame. And I really like that idea. It's quite an American thing, really, a Hall of Fame, isn't it? But I kind of like that the club is starting to recognise these ex-pros. And obviously, Shea Given was also inducted on the same evening. So two players from, the same era. But
wasn't Shearer put in first? Didn't Shearer get put in a couple of weeks back?
Oh, I don't know about that.
Yeah, I thought Shearer was first in, but
I don't know. I thought it was Speed, but I might be wrong.
He was put in on the evening, but I thought they launched it a few weeks back. Anyway,
I don't know. By the way, was the whole Hall of Fame thing? Is that since the new owners have come in? I can't imagine this ever happening under Ashley. So, is this just something that they've suddenly decided, or has it been in the pipeline for a while?
It can't have been because, I mean, like Ashley wouldn't even let Shearer's statue within 10 yards of the ground, would he? You know, I mean,
that's right. And he changed the name of the bar, didn't he? To spite.
Well, they've already said, haven't they, that the statue's been moved back onto. Not back. It's going to be moved onto stadium property. Like they've announced that, and I'm sure that the bar will get renamed as well.
It should be on some sort of elevated plinth above the pitch. That statue.
Stick it on top of the east stand.
Yeah.
So Sean, this is just worthy of discussion as well. I know that we're in a sense, it's getting ahead of ourselves because we're in a relegation fight, and I appreciate that there's more pressing matters, but it is fans love to talk about the stadium, and I guess because lots of other clubs have, it was always quite a big thing, wasn't it? St James's Park was the second biggest stadium in the country, and then Arsenal obviously got theirs, and then it became the third. And it was the third largest football stadium for ages. Club stadium, and now all of a sudden, there's lots of other clubs who've extended and made their grounds bigger, and it's not anymore. We were obviously just completely in the middle of, with Ashley, just, like in the end, couldn't even give free tickets away, which just says it all. We're not going to have that problem anymore. The problem we're going to have going forward, if these owners do what we think they're going to do, is capacity, and the question is, what is going to happen with the stadium? I think, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I think that we would all probably agree that in an ideal world, we'd like to stay at St James's Park because no one wants to leave their home of the club. But what do you think? Do you think in time it might be that we do have to leave?
I think it's possible, obviously, but you're right. I don't want to leave St James's Park, but I do understand the restrictions, and it will really depend on what is feasible, given particularly like what Sean said there about the East Stand, because that's the bugbear, isn't it? And the listed buildings behind it. I did read somebody say they should remove all the listed buildings brick by brick and rebuild them somewhere else. I'm not sure that's going to happen. But
apparently it's possible. It's just the cost of that would equate to building a new stadium. So it's just financially probably not viable.
Yeah,
it's always been it's not even just the Leazes Terrace, though, is it? I mean, like the Gallagher end in itself is, a huge hill, and so it's sort of, for construction purposes, it's not where you would choose to build the ground. Or a modern stadium, obviously when it was built, it was on the hill, and you didn't need to worry about all-seater stadiums and cantilever roofs. But a couple of things. There was always talk, even when they did extend the ground in the 90s, that at some point we'd move to the town moor, which was just that is half a mile up the road, big flat grass area. So that's a possibility. I don't know if that the city would tolerate such things.
I think that'd be the problem. I think the Green Lobby might be out in force stopping with doing that, but
yeah.
How powerful are the Green Lobby against every other person?
I mean, we do live in a world where money talks at the end of the day.
Of course it does.
But the other thing is, like, with the extension of the Leazes end and the Millburn, like the sort of level 7 sort of stuff, like when we first started building the ground, that wasn't talked about. The sheer side, the ground looks mad with those two stands, which are just so big.
Yeah,
it makes it quite unique. But like engineering wise, things have probably moved on. So I guess there are things they might be able to do. I mean, he's talking about Sean's here saying like lowering the pitch and all that sort of stuff. I mean, I don't know if that's possible.
Yeah, I think the theory with that is you lower the pitch and possibly rotate it as well, which just I still can't get my head around that, how that would work. But clearly, people have thought about that, and it might be possible.
That's what Wolves did that as well. I think
Wolves I guess. I mean, the thing with Spurs though, they knocked the stadium down to do that, didn't they?
Yeah.
Like I don't know how, unless you leveled the whole stadium. I don't know. Like, because what I think is people when they say that, it's like there is a way of keeping some of the current stands, and I don't know how that works personally.
It's very clear. Well, Spurs turned their ground 90 degrees when they that new stadium. The pitch is 90 degrees to where it was.
Yeah, they did
it's
it at
got
Wembley as well, didn't they?
Yeah.
I think the unique appeal of our ground is the fact that it's so near the city centre, and that's and I've heard fans of other clubs and other people who've come to the ground say you don't want to be moving to the outskirts of Newcastle where it's away, because it's fairly unique.
And away fans love that, don't they? I know they moan about the height of where they sit, and that's fair comment in a sense. I mean, I have sat in level 7. It's not that bad. I mean, it is high, but it's it's fine. But personally, I think I would be. I know people talk about we need 80,000 seats or whatever. I think if we can get St James's Park, if we can extend the Gallagher, and this is the question whether we'll be able to do that with the building work behind. If we could extend the Millburn corner and the Gallagher end, and get a capacity somewhere in the region of 60 to 65,000, I'd be happy with that. I think that'd be perfect.
Yeah.
I think it'd be enough.
What's the population of Newcastle and the sort of the kind of area where the fans generally live? It's not a huge population, and that's why we're quite unique.
I think it's about 250,000, isn't it? Tyneside. I'm sure I read that a couple of years ago.
As a percentage,
50,000.
People who go to the games quite large. If you kind of consider. Areas like, sort of in London where there's millions of people, and they've got stadiums.
I suppose it draws in people from a lot of other places in the region as well, and from away, obviously. I mean, we did it for years, didn't we?
Mm.
Yeah. Anyway, I think that's all.
Now, if the geography allowed it.
Mm.
Yeah. Anyway, let's get back onto more recent and pressing matters. So this came out, was it this week or back end of last week? Where apparently there's reports that the club have put in, the new owners have put in £38 million to the club for running costs, and that's like I couldn't quite get my head around that, because like if Ashley's just, we know Ashley ran it on bare bones and we know that, but if they've had to put £38 million in after a month, that's not just day-to-day running costs. That's surely that's they're already invested in stuff, or they're already putting stuff in place.
Yeah, Staveley was interviewed this week, wasn't she, on NUFC TV, and I mean, she talked about that word process-driven and all that sort of stuff, and I think I think the academy is certainly what they're looking at, and she said that explicitly in that interview. So who knows if they've just started to splash some cash on, budgets for future development. I mean, 38 million quid's not good. I mean, like, the windows were clean, but I don't know a window cleaner is that expensive. It's sort of maybe they put some new tellies up as well. I don't know. It's a lot of money.
Yeah, some proper size. I mean, the TVs in the back of the stand are a joke. Absolutely, just ridiculous.
But they're still there against Chelsea.
Yes.
Yeah, they were.
We'll see what's like next week. But it's just incremental things, isn't it? I think that the main thing that's come out of what I've heard is really that the club was in a far worse state than even we imagined internally, and I think there's a lot of work going on in the structure of the basic day-to-day running and the staff in there, and maybe just sorting out some of the mess. So I think it's not surprising, really.
Maybe it's just Eddie Howe's new salary.
Well, the one thing about Eddie Howe, we didn't have to pay a transfer fee like we did for Steve Bruce or what Aston Villa paid for.
Yeah, we didn't pay £8 million. Crazy.
Did you kind of sort of think, actually, the longer things have gone on, like, and people were getting really impatient, people were starting to lose their online minds. The whole thing. Why we appointed someone? Where is the man? And it's like, but actually, the more I think about this week, I'm like, no, they've been really calm. They've appointed someone who really knows what they're doing. Mm-hmm. He's had an opportunity to think and plan and prepare. And then Villa sack a manager and employ Steven Gerrard seemingly on a whim overnight. And I just sort of wonder, I mean, Steven Gerrard might do a fantastic job at Villa. But I just think the way we've gone about it is probably the better way.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I think that idiot Martin Samuel wrote something yesterday.
He really hates us, doesn't he? That guy has got a problem with Newcastle.
What a convoluted, ridiculous article! I've never, they're just right.
I'm sure he must just be drunk when he writes articles. He's just
so. I mean, I think the club.
Do I need to get a lawyer involved here so you stop slandering someone on YouTube?
Man. Well, that was a ridiculous. It's a difference of opinion, but basically. Yeah. The club, our club, said they interviewed the two people who impressed were Unai Emery and then Eddie Howe, and that's what they said before the thing with Gerrard. I mean, Gerrard was one of the names bandied about, wasn't it? But it was never serious as far as I could see. But then, having not got the Emery thing, then they just turned to Eddie Howe, and I think it's worked out.
And I think, I think in any walk of life, we've all worked in jobs in terms of and obviously where recruitment's gone on, and it's like sometimes there's just like more than one person who's a good fit, and you can only choose one of them. So I remember when I got my job, literally it came down to two people, me and someone else, and I had to sweat it out for hours and hours as they made a decision because it was so close between two of us, and thankfully I got the job I've got now. But it happens all the time. It's not, there was football's different in some way, but actually it isn't really. And the new owners are clearly coming in and running it properly, and that's what we've been asking for 14 years. And then when they do it, people get on edge.
There were some of their articles written after we appointed how in fact it was on 5 Live. It was Tony Livesey on 5 Live on Friday Monday night. He said, how will Newcastle supporters feel about Eddie Howe? He's like, he's second. He's not that first choice. And how does Eddie Howe feel about not being the first choice, for the job? And you just think these people live in a real world where like you just said, Ian, things happen. It's not an unusual situation. It's fine that somebody, your first choice, turns you down, and you have to move on.
And the thing is, once Emery said no, they still needed to fill that position. So someone had to come in and do it.
Of course they do. And it's just the nonsense. So, the thing with Eddie Howe, I mean, have we been impressed with him this week? I mean, absolutely. And I know you wrote something in your letter, your newsletter, didn't you, about it really had, and I think we talked about it on online as well, about this felt like 92 again. I had that feeling when I was listening to this guy. This is like, it was just the calmness, the assuredness, and what he was saying. It was it was amazing. And it's what we wanted to hear. And I guess we've been starved of it for a long time, haven't we? So, but he's just judged it absolutely right. And what I like about him, and we've seen it already, is what he's done on the training pitch straight away. The fact that he was in early. And I think,
leading from the top.
Yeah. And I think also that the comments from Amanda Staveley as well need to be taken into context here as well. I mean, how wonderful to see the owners of the club actually come out and communicate just in a general way about what they plan to do. I mean, it's just incredible. So it makes that feel good factor already, doesn't it? Even before we kick the ball. I just think it's great.
I'm just showing some of his comments that he made in his press conference, but this one for me is just brilliant. And I don't want to compare him to the old manager Steve Bruce, of course, because we can forget about him now. But actually, it's worth noticing the contrast of the two men. Bruce, a so-called Geordie and Newcastle supporter, couldn't be asked to move from Cheshire. He commuted in 3 times a week or whatever it was. This guy, Eddie Howe, no link to the club. He lives on the south coast near Bournemouth or around Bournemouth. He's had his whole career down there.
Yeah.
And this is what he said: I will treat the football club as if it's my own family. And it's so important for me that I commit to the area. So the family will be moving here after Christmas. I mean, talk about commitment and getting the mood of it all right.
Yeah.
He just got it spot on for me.
And this again, just drawn parallels with no ordinary life. If people get jobs in different parts of the country, generally speaking, they move to where the job is, don't they? I mean, I've got personal experience of doing that. And for managers to be commuting into training, it just seems it did. What sort of impression does that actually give? I know Rafa did it as well, mate, but the point is, it doesn't send out the right sort of message. When I heard him say that in that press conference, I was thinking that's brilliant.
That's the stuff, isn't it?
It's just great.
But the reason he gave was, I'm going to be working so long. I do need to see my sons and my wife. You know, it's like, it is.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Yeah, if he's not,
the amount of hours I'm going to be putting in, they'll have to move here, otherwise it's not going to work.
I want to see him. But the point there is obviously, like, if you don't actually have your family around you and stuff as well, I don't think you're going to be in a happy place. You know, I mean, so Bruce and Rafa are older. They're in their, well, was Bruce 60? Is that around there? Rafa the older.
Yeah, I think he's 60. He just turned 60, didn't he?
And I mean, I remember Redknapp. Redknapp famously never moved from. He lived near Bournemouth as well, doesn't he? And he would just drive wherever he did. He would just pick up whoever his assistant was on route and
whichever
drive.
9-month job he had in the later
exactly. And so I do get that. I mean, I know footballers often have a base where they live, and then they might rent flats, or they might, it's different for the foreign players probably. But so it's not an unusual thing, and because I think footballing hours are odd. That's the other thing. But I think if you're actually going to fully commit to a place, which is what Keegan did, and I think back. I mean, like, do you remember like watching those like little videos, the black and white videos we had?
I've got them all in the garage.
Yeah. But I remember like I got really excited when like we saw Pav be interviewed at home and his daughter's Geordie.
Yeah,
things like that. Shea Given's son's a mad Newcastle fan.
Yeah. Because he was born in Newcastle, wasn't he? He's raised here, like
the RBI.
Yeah.
And I just think that's bang on, absolutely bang on. I don't know how old Eddie Howe's sons are, but he's a similar age to me, so I'm guessing they're obviously at school.
Yeah, I don't think they're like teenagers yet, from what I can tell. I think they're kind of maybe they're not really really young. But
if it goes well, there's a fair chance they'll be speaking with a northeast accent.
Yeah, exactly. They're sort of young enough for And this is it. Like Howe seems like a seriously good choice, and I think for me, I just going back to the echoes of Keegan, it's kind of I've not had a manager come in like that. I mean, apart from maybe Bobby Robson, where I've really felt like this could be something incredible. I genuinely believe that. And I hope it works out. And maybe we're wrong, and maybe we're sat here in 12 months and it's all gone wrong, and and we'll reflect on that. But I just get the impression he knows what he's doing, and I think I mean, let's answer this question. Let's see what people think about this. Do you feel more confident of surviving in the Premier League now that we've got Eddie Howe? You've heard what he's had to say. You've seen what he's done in this first week. How are you feeling about it?
Well, the answer, very positive. Definitely is the answer, I think, isn't it? It's not. We've been saying all week, isn't it? It's not going to be easy, and it'll be up and down. Because that's the nature of football anyway. But do we have a better chance of surviving in the Premier League? Of course we do. We're going to be a better organised team. We're going to train properly. We're going to play players in the right position. And, we've got players who haven't been in that side lately. We've talked about them before, who might come back in because they're quality players. And, of course, if we can get to January and still be in touch, like we had that discussion the other day, then of course it'll be then. And what I really like about Staley, when she said it the other day, we're already talking about what players we've targeted for January. Yeah. So, the groundwork is being done. It's not like, the past few years where it's like Lee Charnley trundles out in the middle of January and tries to sign somebody who they don't sign. And then you end up with a loan signing on the last day of the season or the last day of the window. It's going to be planned and meticulous. And I think, so yes, I think we've got a better chance of staying up. And also, we're not actually that far adrift. I mean, I know it's 7 points, which sounds a lot when you haven't won a game, but it's not actually insurmountable, is it?
Absolutely not. And as I've said, like people were losing their minds last week when Norwich won, and we were bottom for a short period of time. It doesn't matter. Like if you finish 18th, 19th, or 20th, it doesn't matter because you get the same outcome whether you finish 18th. It's not. That is not what you need to be focusing on in November, whether you're 20th or 18th or 19th. It doesn't matter. What matters is how big is that gap to safety. And if we can keep that gap like is it 4 points at the moment? I think it is, isn't it? Or is it 5? I can't remember now without off the top of my head.
I think we're 7 off fourth bottom, aren't we? Didn't that?
We're fourth bottom. We're 7.
We've got 5, and I think Brentford, they've got I think it was fourth bottom.
I'll have to look at the table. Anyway, but what I'm saying is, like, it's not an insurmountable gap, and if we can get to January with it being, no bigger than 4 or 5 points, I think we'll be absolutely fine. The problem comes is if we have if these next few games don't go very well. Yeah, we're 5 points off Villa and Watford at the moment.
Right. That's even less than, isn't it? So
yeah. So if we have a nightmare start, these next 4 games that we talk about, Brentford, Arsenal, Norwich, and Burnley. If that doesn't go well, and then we have a really tough December, then you can see that gap being a problem because it'll get bigger. But if we can get a good haul of points from those games, and then go into December and maybe pick up the odd result here or there, even though it's a tough set of fixtures, we'll be there or thereabouts come January. And then actually the run of fixtures in January onwards is again not horrendous. Like, there's points to be had there in January and February.
What we're going to need is a period in the season where momentum is our friend. Look at West Ham now. They are on. I think they're riding the crest of a wave at the moment.
Yeah,
and they're winning games. They're winning games, and that just breeds more confidence. And every time we've had these runs, like when Rafa had that run when we didn't win for 10 games. But then, like the following set of games, we just won tons of games. It was an amazing run, and it essentially saved the season. And that's probably what we're going to need, because we are, we're 5 points adrift. That's what we are. So it's 2 games, basically. In terms of points, we need to pull back. But that's not impossible. We did that last season. When after the Brighton game, when it was all looking like the club may as well just pack up and go home. It was. We still managed a run last season, where we finished the season bizarrely quite strongly, and no one saw it coming. Yeah. So I do think with a manager who knows what he's doing, we might lose at home to Brentford. It's a strong possibility.
I think people need to be prepared that might happen.
Yeah, we might not win those early games.
We might not win it. We might draw it. It's not beyond that. We haven't won yet. So
and actually, there's only one. I said this last time. There's only one team who have stayed up after not winning their first 11 games, and that was around 2002. And that was Derby. Yeah. So it's a big ask statistically, but I think I don't know how far Derby were cut adrift or not, and if it's happened to other teams, how far adrift they were. I think possibly more, and I think that's actually the key stat there. It's like it's only 2 games, So you beat Burnley, you beat Watford, you beat Villa, you're back in the mix,
And just the other point that I'll reiterate that I've said a few times, Brentford, Norwich, Burnley, our next 3 home games, they're all going to be down there with us. Yeah. It's important that we don't lose those matches because of the swing of points.
Definitely.
If we don't beat them, then just make sure you don't lose to them, because that's
the thing is, if you were sat down as a manager and you were thinking, what's the ideal matches that you would want at the beginning of a new regime, those games would be there, wouldn't they? You wouldn't want Man City, Man United, and Liverpool. You'd want the teams down there with us, because those are the games, and with that that fervour and that bounce, you would hope that we will win at least one of those 3 games. Yeah. But as you're saying, it's important that we don't lose any of them.
Yeah.
Howe talked in his press conference about his style of play, but he also, if you listen to what he said carefully, the caveat was that's what we're moving towards. That won't happen overnight, and so it's not in his nature to play 5 at the back and just do what we've done for the last 2 years. But I think there's an expectation that actually we might need to do a little bit of that just to get through, because basically this season already is about fighting the fires and getting the fires out. It is about staying up. That's all he said. And he did say there's no point in thinking in football at any point too far in the future.
Yeah,
it doesn't help.
But you know what it is? I mean, as rubbish as we've been, and we have been quite dire, there's been spells in matches when we've actually been in it, haven't we? I mean, against Tottenham, we started off like, that first 15 minutes, 20 minutes, we were the best.
They showed that in the team there is something there, and that's our forward players give me hope that actually we can be all right. But the issue with that match was they were so high on adrenaline, and they just crashed, didn't they?
Well, they crashed because they crashed also because we weren't in control of the game properly, and we weren't fit. I mean, it was quite clear by the end of even the end of the first half that we were blowing. I think we've got to hope that. Well, we don't hope. I know we will be fitter next week. There's just you kind of train for 2 weeks the way we've been doing, and be.
Shelby looked ruined. Did you see the picture of Darlow?
Darlow, yeah. Bent over, wasn't he? Like double.
Keepers don't generally run very much, so as I can attest to. So
he made to do the bleep test as soon as he arrived.
Oh.
You got to love it, though. You've got to love that. He's
Absolutely
coming in just
amazing.
Like the players. I mean, hopefully most of the players will be thinking, "Oh, this is really tough," but thank goodness that he is coming in, and this is what a Premier League football club should be acting like, and this is what training should be like. Yeah. There will be one or two in that squad who have enjoyed the easy life and will not enjoy Howe's methods, but they'll soon be out the door.
That's time to leave, then, isn't it? That's exactly it. I mean, the way Howe talks about being a professional footballer as well is he talks about them wanting to improve. That's what he says. It's up to them to want to improve. That's what being a professional is all about in this instance. You want to get better. You train. You keep yourself fit. You look after yourself, and you listen and you learn. And if they don't, they'll be gone very quickly.
Yeah, definitely.
So I mean, Leon there with the improved match fitness, so they don't look like 20-a-day smokers by the second half. But the other point you make is a really, really good one, and drill the defense into stop giving away stupid fouls around the box. So that is a really good point. It's not just that the defenders maybe haven't been up to it in terms of standard, but there's a lot of stupidity and bad decision making happening, and that's got to stop.
And I think the one player I would like, I mean, we can't see what team he's going to play because we don't know what we see in training, do we? But you would like to think that Fernandes must have a chance of being back in that team. And Dubravka next Saturday.
Yeah, I do just think you play your best players, don't you?
You do.
Absolutely. And you play them in position. And then
I always liked Steve Harper, but if Given was fit, you played Given.
Yeah, there was always an element of fans who were like, "Oh, Harper's as good as Given." He wasn't. Like he was a really good backup.
Yeah,
and I was happy for him to come in short term in any moment. I'd trust him, but like he was not as good as Given. It was as simple as that.
No, he was so laid back, Steve Harper. Though
it was like, his kicking game wasn't the best. That was what my issue with Harper. Yeah. What the Premier League and the speed of it.
Yeah, he wouldn't cope today in the Premier League at all.
His kicking game was not up to it, and Given really improved that element of his game. And Given was a better shot stopper.
And then we sold him.
Yeah, sad really. APM, thanks for doing your live stream early. Being in Thailand, the time difference is a problem. So for watching, I can imagine that actually. So thank you very much for that, Andy. Appreciate the message there. Yeah. And it's a bit different on a Saturday morning. There's a bit of a different feel to it, so it's quite nice. So, and I think we've. So Sean's saying we've now got a target on our backs. I think that's really evident already. You've just got to look at the stories coming out about Premier League clubs possibly trying to stop us signing other Premier League players. Clearly, I don't think anything like that will possibly happen. But the fact that that's even a discussion and that possibly clubs are trying to pressure other clubs not to do business with us. What do you think? What do you think to that?
I think there'll be a court case if that happens. Like, I mean, it's up to any club if they want to sell players or not. Of course it is. And you don't generally sell your players to your rivals. That's fair enough. But whose rivals are we? I mean, like Burnley's, Norwich's. I mean, seriously, at the moment, it's just what it is, isn't it? It's the potential stuff, and that that people are kind of making a lot of the Saudi stuff, of course, and that kind of thing. And this will blow over. I think the initial kind of this is what media and the internet does. It virtue signals until something else comes along to kind of look virtuous about. And people will forget eventually. They stop bothering Man City. and their owners, and and Chelsea and all that sort of stuff. They get away with it. And I'm not saying it's good. I'm just saying this will blow over. In terms of business stuff, yeah. I mean, I can just sort of see it in terms. It's a competitive advantage thing, isn't it?
Yeah. The thing is, you say, look, like Burnley as an example. We've been linked with, obviously, who are we competing with at the moment? Burnley is one of them. So we're linked with Tarkowski from Burnley in January, potential defender to come in. His contract, I believe, runs out in the summer. So if we come in with a bid of a few million quid in January, are Burnley really going to say they're not playing him? So are they really going to say, nah, keep your 5 to 10 million quid or whatever it would be? I don't know.
On a Bosman in the summer, yeah.
And then you can pick him up for free in the summer, and we won't make a penny. Of course, that's not going to happen. Like clubs need to make money, and if they can think they can get a few million quid for a player they're not really using that much.
And also what about the players themselves and their agents? They're not going to, if we're the only one bidding for a particular player and that player wants to go, then how they're going to stop? It's just, I just think there's a lot of things that will happen. I mean, I have heard it in the past in the January window, particularly where teams have been reluctant to sell to people in a similar situation, to clubs in a similar situation, and that's gone on. But to actually have a blanket, all Premier League clubs, none of them are going to sell a player to us. I just think
it'll never happen. But what I mean is that it's just the fact that it's even out there as a possibility.
They can't have a meeting and a vote on it. That would be in breach of.
That would clearly be illegal, and as you said, that would be in court. But if there's trying to be like shady gentleman's agreements in the background, like that's.
You've always got to watch Levy. I think he's sneaky.
Yeah,
taking
the grass. Yeah.
Yeah, he is. I mean, he just.
That's quite a nice word for him, that, Andrew.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to kind of get too down on it, but like we talked last time when we were talking about the West Ham stadium, he tried to subvert that and get he was insisting Spurs need to go to them.
I remember that. Yeah,
and then. And he's clearly been involved in this sort of Super League breakaway talk, despite the fact that Spurs are balls. Do you know what I mean? And they're so far off being an elite club, it's ridiculous. But it's all the competitive stuff, isn't it? You've got to be careful. It'll blow over, and
that's exactly what Connor's saying. I need to weather this really, and it's like hopefully we survive this season and then we start building, and actually it'll become the new landscape of football, that Newcastle are this team, this club who has what they have, and there's always going to be people sniping at us now, and the whole Saudi Arabia thing, we can't ignore that. That's going to be there for forever, as long as they're owners of the football club, and I get that, but also I feel like as fans there's nothing we can do about who the owners of our football club are, and we can condemn Saudi Arabia and still support Newcastle United. I don't think there's hypocrisy there if you do both of those things.
Yeah. Well, I'm just looking at the comments as they come in, and someone sort of suggested that, of course, PIF have a lot of business interests in a lot of places, and I'm guessing one of the guys is saying here, like, clearly there's a lot of clubs who work with PIF, and so. That won't go well if you're sort of blocking sales to one of their other assets as well. So business is business. I think at the end of it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and like Jan's saying here about Barcelona, got 10 million to spend in January window. Like, Barcelona, one of the biggest football clubs in the world, struggling financially, and ultimately, if we weren't in this relegation fight, we would have a very different feel about us right now. But that relegation fight isn't going to last forever. We'll either go down and rebuild, or we'll stay up and rebuild. Either way, Newcastle United is only going to get stronger in the short term.
That's exactly it. And actually, you look at situations like Barcelona. If they've only got 10 million quid to spend in January, if that is true, because they've had to pay off another manager, I mean, they might be willing to sell a player to raise some more funds. You know what I mean? And so I'm not saying we would end up with they might sign. It was the ex-player that got up front for us. One of our ex-players is playing for them, isn't he?
For Barca?
Yeah, it's one of the Dutch brothers. I'm having a
De Jong.
De Jong.
They've got a De Jong
Yeah.
playing up front for him, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, they did. Is he still there? Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, maybe we'll sign him back.
Maybe. There's quite a few players who've left us and gone on to do okay.
Yeah.
Just also wanted to talk about this. Someone messaged me during the week, just talking about player transfers and that sort of thing. And this person, I'm just going to find out who it was so I can actually give them the shout out that they deserve. So basically, the point here was they were kind of confused as to why this narrative is out there. It's Connor on. I think Connor might be with us today. Actually, he said, people keep saying in the media that people won't want to come and play for Newcastle because of where Newcastle is. Do you think that Newcastle's location is going to be a barrier to any success in the future, Dad?
No. I really don't. I think players will go where where they think they might win things, where they might earn the money. I mean, it's not stopped us attracting players in the past, and it's not going to stop us attracting players in the future. It's just and let's face it, we get this impression that this island of ours is like so big, and it's isn't. For goodness sake. It's not like, if you travel across France, it's like, 3 times the length. It's just a nonsense story. I hear it raised a lot. And Keegan did that, didn't he? In when he was here, he just knocked that on the head. And players came from all over to play where they were playing in a good team with good support, with the potential to win something. And that's what happened. And over the years, we've attracted a lot of players, and we just never quite fulfilled the outcome of what we wanted, which was to win something. But good players will come to us.
It's such a daft story, and I mean, there's a lot of myths about the Northeast, some of which we enjoy playing into. I mean, like, did you see, Shearer talking to Gary Neville on his thing about, like, everyone just works, and then they spend all that money on Newcastle.
Yeah,
yeah, it's sort of true. It is, one team, all that sort of stuff. So we enjoy that kind of thing. We're all mad about Stotties. Yeah, all right, fine. Whatever. The point there is if there's a decent football team, people will come. It happened. We signed Faustino Asprilla.
Yeah.
Like, he was one of the biggest names in world football at the time. Yeah, he was bonkers, but we signed Asprilla, and I remember watching that video of him getting off the plane in the snow,
he played against Middlesbrough, wasn't it?
Against Middlesbrough, and
so wondered where he was. Like,
exactly.
Teesside, like, what? And it's snowing, and like,
yeah. And the thing I was going to say is,
will come, and that's the point. And if you're paying them, if there's a chance they're going to win stuff. I mean, okay, I know Manchester's a much more exotic location than Newcastle. I mean, for goodness sake. I mean, okay, it's busier, but like, it rains every day in Manchester, like literally every day. So
it's a lot more rain on the west side.
It is so wet and grey over there. It's just a little bit further south.
Yeah, I think the thing with Manchester, like, my eldest daughter's at uni. Well, she's actually in Liverpool, living in Manchester at the moment, and we went to Manchester a couple of weeks back, and like. And I know it's a big city and it's got everything you could ever wish for. Yeah. But actually, when you compare it to Liverpool, which is a lovely city, and Newcastle, which is a lovely city, Manchester's, in my opinion, is not a lovely city. Like, it's got everything you want, but it's, I don't know, like, I didn't get a feeling that it's like, and yet, like you said, people go there happily. Lots, it's a massive city. It's like almost become the second city, hasn't it? Yeah. And that's because these big cities have everything that anyone could ever want. Newcastle is no different. It's a small city, but there's
going back there. That's a London sort of centric view of things. We often bewail that, and sometimes it's right, sometimes it's wrong. But look, players will go anywhere. They've got a Celtic and Rangers, for goodness sake. I'm not saying the quality of players up there is as good, but players will travel. They'll go wherever the money is.
Look at some of the clubs they play for in Europe. I mean, they're not in all the hot spots of Europe, are they?
Well, this is the next message. Yeah, look.
Was there anyone been to Borussia?
Why do they take up players? Because they're in the Champions League.
Yeah.
As soon as you get European football or Champions League football, that's the dream, isn't it? I guess. You'll attract the best players because the best players want to play Champions League football. And if you can offer them that, it doesn't matter where your city is.
They'll come.
And also, just the point I was going to make before was that look at the players we have had over the years who've retained their love for being up here. How many connections with ex-players have we got in, whether it's Robert Lee, whether it's, Nobby, who we're talking about, Tino Spears being in the local paper all week, talking about that. There's loads of them who, once they come here, they just send the word out, don't they? So
Ginola's wife cried when she was shown Newcastle.
Who's that?
Ginola's wife.
Yeah, tears of joy. She was like, "Why have I not seen this place before?"
These are good, to be fair.
They are good.
You know what? You move away from the northeast and you can't get them. You realise how good they are.
Yeah. It's wonder why there's never been exported.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, this is it. It's a bit of a nonsense, and I just think ultimately the point is it is lazy that this is something that we get thrown at us. But again, in a sense, it is just noise, and the proof. What is it? The proof is in the pudding. Essentially, once we start being more successful, the big players will come. It's not going to be an issue. They'll come for the good money. They'll come for the chance of success. Footballers. Say what you want about the majority of footballers, they want to win stuff. Most footballers actually, they genuinely are wanting to win stuff. And if you can offer them the chance of that, it doesn't matter where you're located, they're going to.
And you just look at Man City as an example. I mean, Man City were always the poor rivals to Man United, weren't they? Man United were the what? And now, of course, Man City are deemed to be this a place where good players want to go and play.
Well, you put one of the best managers in the world. Their training facilities are insane.
Incredible.
And the next level doesn't even describe what they've got going on at Man City.
Yeah.
And their academy, it's just what it is. And it's a I can't help but admire Man City every time I watch them and just look at they're just so.
Yeah.
Not
if you ever want to see the sort of the infrastructure that's in place at Man City, go and watch the All or Nothing series on Amazon Prime about Man City, because it is an absolute eye-opener as to what we're going to get at Newcastle over the next few years, because it's the kind of thing that they're on about building. Staveley's already said this week about money. She basically said that the academy and training ground are going to be rebuilt. She didn't quite say that, but she was basically saying that. Investment at every level of the club, every department of the club is going to get investment, she said. And
those training grounds, the facilities are just embarrassing.
It's like a community centre.
Yeah.
It is. It was overlooked by kind of housing and all sorts, isn't it? Yeah.
But that's another throwback to the Keegan days, isn't it? Because when he first came, do you remember the first thing he did was fumigate the changing rooms in the training set place and paint it because it was so bad.
Yeah.
Like a similar.
Well, they used to train at Durham Uni, didn't they, when the Keegan was there? So they moved down.
That's
Durham.
right. They used to just train in random places, didn't they? I was going to say something. I forgot what it was. Keep talking. Oh yeah, Alan Shearer on Gary Neville's program. What's it called? I keep forgetting the name of it.
Yeah, I'll find it.
Whatever it's called.
Yeah. It's a really good video, though, isn't it?
It's very good, yeah. But Shearer was saying the training ground is exactly the same as it was when he left in 2000 and was it 2006? Yeah, just crazy, just absolutely crazy. And this is it, Blake. He's spot on. If we can offer Champions League and challenging for trophies and can offer big wages, no one will care where Newcastle is. Definitely. Apparently, Gavin Peacock's wife also cried when she found out they were moving from Bournemouth to Newcastle. So I don't know. When are the Sports Direct banners coming down? Very soon. There's been a development on that. Apparently, Staveley in her interview, or she's made some comments this week. It wasn't on a Newcastle TV interview, I don't think, but she was asked about this and sponsorship deals, and basically because obviously the Premier League put in place this sort of temporary ban, didn't they, on sponsorship deals with linked companies to your owners, but that is apparently that I don't think legally that can hold any weight. And so what's happening is Staveley's made comments that basically as soon as that comes to an end, that temporary ban, they've got things in place to move really quickly.
Yeah, before they can have a meeting and ban
before they can do it again. And so they'll get all this sponsorship in. And I think as part of that is what she literally said, she hates those banners as well. They need to come down. So I think They could be down before Christmas. They'll be down.
I think they should use the Shearer statue to scrape them off the side of the stand. That's what
I think we should invite the fans to come and pull them down. I think they would get a lot of volunteers.
I mean, honestly, you'd fill the ground twice over with people willing to tear them down. Someone also pointed out the other day, I never picked up on this, but when you think about it, it's true. You know the Newcastle United on the East Stand, where it says Newcastle United? What I didn't realise is that change, when the Sports Direct logos went up, they changed the Newcastle United to the same font as
the Sports Direct. Really?
And so someone was pointing out the other day that they really need to change those letters back to the original as well, or like update them to something more modern. But I just
I hadn't picked them on that either.
That is subliminal. Yeah. I mean, that's actually quite clever and devious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, get rid of it. No more jumble sales on the ground.
It's also very sad. No more paddling pools either. The overlap, that's what it's called.
The overlap, yeah.
Brilliant. Such a good. I love it. I actually like Gary Neville. I think he's all right.
It's not a Sky show, or is it?
It is Sky. It's a Sky
YouTube thing, but it's on YouTube. I don't know if they broadcast it on Sky Sports actually, but it's on his. He's got a YouTube channel called The Overlap.
The one with Shearer is very good.
Yeah, the one with Carragher was good as well. I watched that the other week. That was quite funny. That was pretty funny. So it's worth watching.
They are quite daft, aren't they?
Yeah, Nick's saying is agreeing. Get the community involved in taking them down.
Yeah.
Amazing
volunteers.
Yeah.
Sean's loving the coffee morning debate. This needs to be a regular slot. Well, we'll see what we can do.
Yeah.
It's
a nice time of the week, isn't it? A Saturday morning. It's just
a bit more chilled out, isn't it? Like, I feel like we've covered topics I wasn't expecting to cover today. To be honest, we've kind of gone off on a bit of a tangent, but it's been fine. It's been absolutely fine.
It was ever thus that, though, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, true. Yeah. I mean, it's great, isn't it, when you're chatting about it? Right. Before we go, I wanted to challenge you with. I've got 3 mystery players. Okay.
All right.
3 mystery players. I think they get progressively harder. Okay.
My brain's working at about 50% capacity.
Well, we'll see. So you need to guess the mystery players, and then there's a question at the end about them. Okay. So first mystery player. I've tried to make them a little bit harder. This is the easy one, by the way. So.
Is it? Oh my goodness!
I think this is the easy one.
Is that ASM? No.
No. It's not. It's not a current player.
Not current player. No, the sponsor's different. Hang on. Is that a Northern Rock? That is Northern Rock.
It is. Yeah, it is.
All right. Shola.
No. You got. I mean, I'll give you a clue. It's a white person.
Okay. All right. That wasn't my line of thought, but okay.
No, it wasn't.
I have no idea.
Is it Shearer?
It's not Shearer, but it's from Shearer's era. I thought that was the easy one.
Well, it's a tiny picture.
We've had lots of guesses. It's not Stephen Taylor. It's not Nolan. It's not Enrique. But who was it? Marty got it right. Marty got it right.
Shea Given.
That's Shea Given, believe it or not. So,
well, I would never have gotten that.
That was the easy one. Right, let's move on to the next one. Let's move on to the next one.
I love how baggy those shirts are.
Maybe this one's easy.
This morning. David Kelly.
Oh, okay. Maybe that was the easier one then.
Yeah, come on.
Okay, yeah, that's David Kelly. Okay. Blurry McBlurry. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So maybe that was the easier one. Yeah, that was David Kelly.
Yeah.
David Kelly. Okay.
No chance of getting that one.
Look at that haircut.
Did you get that one, Dad?
No, not straight away.
I got it instantly.
But now you said it's David Kelly, I got it straight away. Yeah.
I got that instantly. What's that about?
Yeah, I don't know. Like,
look at the barcode strip, man.
You can tell the difference in the kit stripes.
Yeah, the barcode.
Okay, so David Kelly and Shea Given, and then the last one.
Denver Bar?
Not Denver Bar.
Cisse?
Not Cisse. It's not Rule Fox.
We got the skin colour right this time.
Yeah. It's not Andy Cole. Lots of people saying Andy Cole.
Yeah.
Lots of people saying Shola, Rule Fox. None of these. Not
Is
Luau.
it an Asics kit, Ian?
I'll give you a clue. It's not a striker.
Is it an Asics kit?
Not an Asics kit. It's an Adidas kit.
It's an Adidas kit. All right.
Yeah. So you wouldn't class this person as a goal scorer. Clearly, they're celebrating a goal there, but yeah.
Are we talking 1990s here?
Talking turn of the century player. Not Amiobi, not Ferdinand, not Tiote.
Yeah, not a goal scorer, people.
One person's got it right. Two people have got it right.
No, I'm done.
Craig's got it.
Oh, Titus
Bramble. And El Notorio's got it as well. So,
Bramble.
Titus Bramble, that's scoring obviously a goal at that point.
Oh, I'm wearing that kit.
You are wearing that top. Yeah, you are. I never even picked up on that. Right. So, here's the last thing. What do those three have in common? What links those three players?
Ooh. Another club? Is that what we're talking about here?
What links them?
Portsmouth?
No, you're on the right lines with that.
Did they all play for someone? Is that what we're sort of thinking here? Is it a previous club?
It is yeah.
Okay.
Some people have got it.
Yeah. I don't know, Ian.
They all played for Newcastle and Sunderland.
You see, I knew Kelly and Given did, but I didn't realise
Lots of people got that. Yeah.
I didn't realise I played for the Mackham, so I knew the other two had.
Well, I knew the.
Stu's going for the obvious there. They all played for the two, which is true. It does link them.
Yeah, no, Given was on loan, wasn't he, at Sunderland before we signed him?
Yeah, and Bramble went at the end of his Newcastle career.
Bramble did. I knew Bramble played for the Mackhams because he was shite. Sorry, garbage.
I didn't really say Sunderland, but I knew the two because Kelly and Given did.
There was a lot of players I could have chosen. I did nearly put Paul Bracewell in.
Lee
actually.
Clark.
Lee Clark, another one. I mean, there's quite a lot. When you look at the list, there's probably 40, 50 players who've played for
both clubs.
Yeah. And that goalkeeper we talked about, the other stream,
Lionel Perez.
He played for us at some point. He came. He was with us for a short amount of time. I've totally forgotten that.
He was He was on the bench for a bit, wasn't he?
That's right. Yeah, he didn't. I don't know if he played any first team games, but Given was at the Mackhams before he came to Newcastle.
Yeah, he was on loan there. I remember that. We didn't sign him from Sunderland, did we? He was signed.
No, we didn't. No. But he'd been on loan there, and then we signed him
the previous season and done really well.
Yeah,
and then we signed him. Yeah.
Apparently, Bramble got sent off for your first Toon game. Connor says, "What game was that, Dad?"
I don't
remember that. You'll have to let us know which game that was, Connor.
I'm just trying to think when he
Bramble. He was awful.
He was not a good player, was he? 5-1 Titus. Blackburn was Given's club. That's who we signed him.
Yeah, right. There you go.
Yeah. The 5-1 Titus.
Because didn't
Sunderland?
Dalglish that signed him for us, and he'd had him at Blackburn? Was that part of the link?
Maybe. He came around that time, didn't he?
Yeah.
Was he sent off against the Mackhams?
It looks like he might have been. I'd never picked up on that.
We beat them 5-1. Didn't Nolan score?
Bramble sent off in the Bruce Sunderland game, 5-1. I think. Yeah, everyone's saying that. So I hadn't realised that we had a man sent off against the Mackhams that game.
Yeah.
The Halloween game, was that the Halloween game? Didn't realise that. I was too busy celebrating.
Did Kevin Nolan's got a hat trick in that game?
Yeah.
This is the sort of memory that, we can all remember Bramble fondly with.
that would have been one of the best own goals ever scored. It was a proper effort on goal, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Remember that.
I do remember it. It was absolutely brilliant.
What has happened to him? I wonder where he is. I wonder what he does. He's probably wealthier than all of us.
Probably just enjoying his retirement from football. Listen, lovely morning drinking. Well, you two have drank coffee. I've not. I've drank Pepsi Max. But yeah, it's lovely. And next weekend, obviously, we've got the Brentford match, which is very exciting.
Come on.
So we will look to do this again at another point. It might be midweek. It might be on a weekend. I'm not sure. We'll figure it out. I'm still trying to find out a regular kind of pattern for when we do these live streams. I'm still working on that. But I do appreciate everyone who's joined us again this morning. It's been really
thanks to everyone.
So thanks you all. Yeah, thanks for all the comments. Thanks for joining in and watching. And yeah, we really, really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody. So the three of us will see you again soon, I think.
Yeah.
So have a good weekend, everybody.
Yeah, have a good weekend, everyone. Yeah.
Bye.